phase. So what I'm going to do today is we're going to do kind of just fun splatters and pops of color different places. We're going to use a bunch of different greens. We're going to use a little coral because it's kind of in the red family. It will still be complementary. And then we're going to put some gold on there. And gold's not considered a complementary color, but it is St. Patrick's, pot of gold. So, we'll go with it. So I'm going to tilt this down here so you can see what I'm doing. And then we're going to add some gold leaf too, and I'll come back on and talk about it here in a little bit before we do that. Camera to go where it's supposed to go. Sorry, little bubbles there. For some reason, my camera was being kind of a turkey today, and it's not wanting to do what I want it to do. So I get these little trays at the dollar store, at the Dollar Tree. They're just little styrofoam trays, and they work great for painting and mixing paint. So we're going to put just a little bit of all our colors out. This one is Forest Rain by Daydream Apothecary. And these are all chalk paint. So you don't just have to paint furniture with chalk paint. You don't have to paint home decor. You can paint fine art. There's a lot of content creators for Daydream Apothecary, which is these colors right here are all Daydream Apothecary so far, that do strictly canvas painting. So, you can use it for everything. Paint is paint is paint. Might use a little bit of Tailwind. It's kind of a blue-green color. Here's our peachy color. Oops. That's a mess. That's okay. That's the only bad thing about these FIFO bottles is sometimes they get kind of clogged up here at the top. And I haven't cleaned them in a while. Yeah, a little bit of white and a little black on here, and we'll be good to go. Now, the white is Amy Howard Snow Flurries. It's one of the new ones that just came out. It's a really pretty white. Oop. And if you can see it there. It's a little real pretty white. It might even have just a tiny bit of a gray cast to it, but not much, if any. And then this is the Amy Howard, A Good Man Is Hard to Find, which is a dark, dark gray, which is really pretty. Okay, so those are the colors we're going to play with. And here's our canvas. And this is just a standard little canvas. I just got it from Michael's. You can get it. They're pre-primed, pre-gessoed, so you don't really have to prep it. You just need to start painting. And this is kind of a combo. This is Daydream Apothecary's Frida. And it's a synthetic brush, but it feels like a natural bristle brush. I'm not worried about brush strokes on this one, so I'll probably be using this one. But as you can see, it's got a little bit more of a texture to it. But I really like the size of this one. Has really good grip. And I really like, I have arthritis, so I have an autoimmune arthritis, and so this one is really easy for me to use to paint. It also is really easy for me to use on furniture. Now I got white all over. Oh, it's on my hand. Great. Okay. So let's start with our greens. Okay. I'm just going to take a little bit of green. And, this technique we're going to do is kind of that hot mess. We're going to use markers. I have just an acrylic. These are just cheapo acrylic markers that I bought on Amazon. And that's what I used on that shelf from the other day. And actually, let me grab it so you can see what I'm talking about. That about fell. So here's what I had a reel for this the other day. But you can see what we're going to do. We're just doing a bunch of different splatters, different bunches, and then we're going to add the black to it to refine it and make it look more like a pattern. So that's our concept for today. So we're just going to have fun, add these in different spots. And if you guys are familiar with interior design, things like that, the magic number. You always want to make things in threes. So you want to have nice, the eye is kind of drawn to threes. You can water these down a little bit if you want to. We may come back over that. I'm going to clean that out. We'll get a different color. And you're just going to literally just going to put it different spots. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to it. You're just going to have fun. You know? You can't be serious with art. You got to have fun. If you're too serious, it's not fun. It's not, you're not going to do it. You're not going to enjoy it. Why not have some fun and create something that you like? Is my painting going to hang in the Smithsonian? Absolutely not. But you know what? I'm going to have fun doing it. Dry this brush off just a little bit. We're going to go to a different color. Kenny P, get down. Get down. Okay, so we're just going to add these in different spots. And they're going to mix together, and that's fine. We're going to do, you know, if you kind of have a concept in mind, like I did with the flowers, let me show you. What I did with the flowers, even though it looks like a hot mess, what I did is, if you can see where the flowers, I kind of knew where I wanted the petals to be. I'm sorry, not the petals, but the leaves. And so I kind of did a little bit of a highlight on them. So that's what we're going to do here today, too. We're going to add just a little bit of highlight here and there. And you know what? If they mix together, who cares? We're going to kind of mix them together. We're going to put a little water on some of them, let them run. We're going to do all kinds of stuff. So this is just going to be fun. Get the sides. Okay, what color should we do next? Let's add a little bit of that peach in. Not 100% complimentary, but kind of the same idea, family. This is the color that I tend to use. I do kind of a gnome class. I'll show you. I do these cute little gnomes in some of my classes in the area, and that tends to be the flesh color. So this is my gnome flesh color. Makes me sound like I'm Jeffrey Dahmer or something. You're just going to be relaxed about it. You're going to make it, who cares what it looks like? We're going to make it look better here at the end. So we got some gnome flesh there. Let's do a little bit of gray. Let's add a little gray in here. Such a small canvas, I probably could have used a smaller brush, but yeah, let's switch over to a smaller one. Okay, what other colors? We're going to do some gold. We're going to do little pots of gold here and there. And the gold is actually one that I think will probably make some drips, and then we're going to do some gold leaf. You can kind of see the gold leaf, which is kind of fun. And this gold we're using right here is the Daydream Apothecary. This is their chalk paint gold, and it's a true chalk and clay paint style paint, and it's one of the only ones on the market that actually is a true paint, chalk paint, with the metallic, which is kind of cool. See, we're just making a hot mess. It's globby. It's going to look like junk. But in the end, it'll be so pretty. Let's add a little bit of white here and there. And you can make, you know, smooth shapes if you want. They don't have to be as messy as I'm doing. It's all about just getting in there. Getting your hands dirty. Getting a little paint on your hands. You know? Who cares? I kind of continue these up around. Okay, what other colors we got here? Oh, we have kind of a sage blue-green color here. You guys, sorry, you can't see my color palette here. Kind of see it a little bit better there. Kind of that sage bluey green. Let's add him in there, different places. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to dry that with my dryer here. It's going to be a little bit of noise, sorry. So here's a good example. How can you tell when chalk paint is dry? So if you look, I don't know if you can see it very well. I'll try to shine it. See how that's kind of shiny? If you can see the shine means it's wet. Okay. Over here, it's more dull where I've been drying, like right here. See, that's where it's nice and dry. Okay, and that's fairly dry. Some of the areas where I really globbed it up with a lot of paint, it's not completely dry, but that's okay. And as you can see, the gold chalk paint, it's got sparkle to it, but yet it's matte, which is such a cool concept. Neat concept. Okay, so we're going to do this, and we're going to add a little bit of gold leaf. Okay. So the gold leaf that we're going to use, and I need a different brush. Where's my art brushes? Here we go. So this is a gold leaf we're going to use. It's the Amy Howard gold leaf. I found that this is a really good quality gold leaf, and it's actually cheaper than a lot of the leaves that are out there on the market. So I would really, if you're looking for gold leaf, this is probably going to be your best bet, price-wise and quality. I know some companies have recently come out with some, but this is still going to not be as expensive. And to apply this, so this is just non-adherent. Okay, see, it's literally hammered out gold. Okay. See how thin that is? Real wispy thin. We'll work with that here in a minute. But to get that adhered, since it's not adhesive, we're going to use what's called gilding size. This essentially is just a glue. Okay. It'll go in any shape you put it, any pattern. So you could use a stencil. You could put this over the top of the stencil. And you could attach the gold leaf in the stencil. And actually, we might do that here in a moment. If I can find, let me grab a stencil real quick. We'll show you how that works. So, tends to work a little bit better with an open weave. You could use a mesh stencil, but an open stencil I find works a little bit better. And we're just gonna lay it down. I don't want to know the whole thing. We'll just do it on part here. Maybe do. And then we'll add it in some different places. So here's the gilding size. Let me shake it real well. Man, I'm a mess today. Now I got gilding all over me, paint. Oh my goodness. Okay. So it's just literally a glue. Make sure it's stirred up really well. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold this down to try to prevent as much bleeding as possible underneath the stencil. And then I'm just going to lightly apply this like I'm painting. Excuse me. Okay, you might be able to see it. You might see a little bit of a glossiness there. That's where the gilding size is. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to dry that. What you want to do is you want to let it dry and come to tack. So what it means when it's come to tack, you want it to be sticky, okay? But for time's sake, we're going to try to dry it a little bit. So if you were to feel it, it's just slightly tacky. What I like to do with my gold leaves too, this one I've already cut it, but I like to cut them in strips. That way there's less waste. So I take the strip with the backing that's on it, if you can see here, like that. And it's very, very delicate. Going to kind of apply that on here, give it a little burnish with your paper. You can take these off, place it on that side, give it a little rub. Okay, I like to try to save as much as I can. And then I'm going to take a stiff bristle brush. once you've got it firmly adhesed to the gilding glue that you put on, you'll just take a brush and you'll rub it. Gilding is a little bit messy, but that's what you get. Can you see where I added the gold leaf? Isn't that fun? And is it perfect like the stencil? No. But it gives a fun little extra texture. So we're going to add that in different places here. Maybe we'll do a whole side. We'll kind of go in here. But you can also hand paint. So for instance, with the gilding, say I just wanted to do, let's just do an outline around this gold. Okay, let me dry that just a little bit. Okay, then I'm actually going to use the piece of gold from earlier. Don't like to waste it. And you can use your fingers if you're very delicate and gentle, but a lot of times what will happen is you'll get the glue on your fingers and then it just gets everywhere and it's just a mess. Add that on. Add that on. And then you want something over the top to burnish it. You can really make sure it's adhered. Then but you do have to be slightly gentle because you could see where I just rubbed it. I just pulled it right off. You don't want to do that. And then I just take a brush. I like to do little circular motions. And there you have your gold leaf. And you can see how you can use your brush, you can use a stencil, you can use whatever. I really like the kind of organic gold. I think that's a lot of fun. I think we're just going to keep adding that on here. We'll keep doing a little bit of that here today. And I think that's probably all we'll cover today, adding some gold leaf. And then when I come back on Thursday, we'll do our acrylic marker and we'll have some fun. We might do a little bit of texture too. So we're just going to do some little organic swirls here and there. Add our gold leaf. And you want to do fairly thin coats on the gilding size. As you can see here, the big blob, that would take forever to dry. You'd have to let it dry for quite a while. I don't have the patience myself, so we're just going to blend it in and dry it a little bit more and then put some gold leaf on that baby. So now my fingers are getting sticky. So this is the point where the gold leaf will probably stick to my fingers and be annoying. I'm going to kind of tilt it so I can see where the gold is. They do make a gilding glove that you can use with these if you want. That way you can use your fingers more. It's just a white cotton glove. Works really well. Probably be something good if you were doing commission furniture, things like that. We're just doing some fun stuff, so we're not going to get quite that fancy. And you can even take the little pieces. So if you have little pieces, you can just stick them on. You know, use everything you got. You don't have to use a new sheet every time. They'll stick on just as well. Try to see where that gold is over there. Kind of take a little bit off of that, put it over here. So the key though is even if you have pieces, really rub it down, burnish it. Get it to sit on that glue so it sticks. Same thing over here. Same thing on this guy. Then you can take your brush and little circles. I love the organicness of it. I love how, you know, it's got spots that may not be covered. Let's see. And that guy worked just as well just by adding the little pieces. So you don't have to use a fresh new piece each time. You could use your little added pieces. You could use flakes if you have gold flake instead of gold leaf. That works too. But yeah, it just gives a little extra dimension. On the camera here, I know it's showing up kind of like just a shiny clear, but you can see the gold when I move it a little bit. So there's that. So I think that's what we're gonna get started with. I'm gonna mess around and do a little bit more stencil work here and there to add to it. But this will be our base for starting Thursday, and we'll do our doodles.